Brigitte Gabriel is a bigot anti-Islamist, and the founder of an anti-Muslim hate group, Act for America. She does not have any real expertise, and when she is actually challenged by a real expert, she yells and screams, to justify her lies.
The Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyyah, which is an Islamic principle of war and a model on how to deceive your enemy when you have to sign peace treaties with your enemy. And it is based on an example by Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad was attacking the Meccans and their caravans when he was living in Medina. One day he attacked them because this is how he got the goodies. He would attack them, rob them, and spread the goodies among his men. And this is how he was able to recruit, because this is how people made money without working. And so he attacked the Meccan caravans. When he realized he's not able to defeat the Meccans in that city of Al-Hudaybiyyah, in that place, he signed a 10-year treaty with them. He broke the treaty, attacked them 2 years later, and Mecca fell within 24 hours because they were not expecting the attack. And that became a principle of war in Islam.
Who is Karen Armstrong? Karen Armstrong is the author of numerous books on religion. Her work has been translated into 45 languages. She has addressed members of the U.S. Congress on 3 occasions, lectured to policymakers at the U.S. State Department. She addressed the Council on Foreign Relations in Washington and New York, and is now an ambassador for the UN Alliance of Civilizations. In 2008 she was awarded the TED Prize. Also in 2008, she was awarded the Franklin D. Roosevelt for Freedom's Medal. Let's listen from Karen Armstrong, the truth, what really happened in the Hudaybiyyah Treaty, and how was Mecca conquered by Muslims.
The Quran insists that Muhammad was fighting a war of self-defense. Mecca, the powerful city of Mecca, was attacking the Muslim community, and had the Meccans prevailed, according to the customs of pre-Islamic Arabia, they would have slaughtered all the men and sold the women and children into slavery. The Muslim community was fighting for survival. But as always happens in warfare, as we found in our own day, warfare has its own awful dynamic, and atrocities are committed on all sides. And that, in the end, I think, pushed Muhammad to initiate a peaceful, non-violent riposte. When the tide was just beginning in Arabia as a whole, though not in Medina, where he had a great deal of opposition, he announced to his followers that he wanted to make the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, on the Hajj, as you know, you may not carry any weapons. You may not fight. You may not even kill an insect or speak a cross word. Now, so for Muslims in the height of this lethal war with Mecca, to ride unarmed into the holy city of Mecca was going unarmed into the lion's den. Nevertheless, 1,000 Muslims from Medina volunteered to go on this highly dangerous campaign. And they arrived in, and the Meccans, when they heard they were coming, sent their cavalry out to kill the pilgrims. But with the help of some friendly local Bedouin, Muhammad managed to elude them and get into the sanctuary of Mecca, where all violence was forbidden, and then he sat down. It was a demonstration, what in the 60s we used to call a sit-in. And he basically, the eyes of Arabia were on him. He knew he was brilliant man, and he knew that he was putting the Meccans on the spot. Because if they slaughtered peaceful pilgrims who were punctiliously pursuing the rites and denying them the right of every Arab to perform the rites of the Hajj at the Kaaba, they would have violated the sanctities that they had been fighting for and would have lost enormous prestige. They were the guardians of the Kaaba, so they negotiated. And Muhammad accepted terms, as the Quran says Muslims must do, that seemed utterly appalling to his followers. because it seemed to give everything away to Mecca, everything that they'd fought for. And yet, nevertheless, and they almost mutinied, the pilgrims who were with him. Nevertheless, he persisted. And on the way home, he had a revelation whereby he said that this was a manifest victory. It was not a defeat. That the Meccans had behaved with all the chauvinism and violence of Jahiliyyah, a word I'm going to talk about in a minute, the pre-Islamic period. Whereas the Muslims had experienced the Sakina, the spirit of peace, which had descended upon them. And it was this spirit of peace that linked them with the Jews and the Christians, the people of the book. It was the spirit of peace that characterizes the human attitude towards God. So the historians, early historians of Islam, agree that this was indeed a victory. This was the turning point. Two years later, Mecca opened its gates voluntarily to the Prophet. Nobody was forced to convert to Islam, and Muhammad had brought peace to war-torn, war-weary Arabia.
Al-Qur'an, chapter 22, verse 39 and 40. Permission to fight has been given to those who are being fought and were wronged. And indeed, Allah is able to give them victory. They are those who have been unjustly evicted from their homes, only because they say, "Our Lord is Allah." And were it not that Allah tests one set of people by means of another, there would have been demolished monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques, in which the name of Allah is much mentioned. And Allah will surely support those who support Him. Indeed, Allah is powerful and exalted in might.
Like, share, and subscribe to create awareness. We are also available on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and Paltalk.